Indian National Congress. This is the first political party emerged in India by 1885. So 1885 is the formation of a Congress party to 1905. This is the first 20 years period we call moderate phase. So in moderate phase, Indian National Congress have come with certain objectives. First one is its main task is to build national consciousness. This is the first foremost goal of Indian National Congress. What is that? To build nationalistic consciousness, that is nationalistic feelings among diversified people, that is different people of India. When national consciousness develops, it keeps unity among the diversified people. So what is the advantage of a national consciousness? It builds unity. So this is the foremost task for Indian National Congress. Then second task for Congress is what to call to build or to create a common platform for bringing unity instant. That is the second major objective of the Congress, to create a common political platform. This common political platform helps to bring all the leaders of different parts of India to organize their political activities at one place and educates the people from that common platform. The second important goal of the Congress is to create a common political platform through which they wanted to organize their programs and political activities. Okay, there they could discuss their problems, that is the grievances, and fight for their rights. This is the second major task of Indian National Congress. Third major objective of Congress, to promote democratic ideals, and they wanted to see the function of a democracy in India. These are the three main goals were there to the Congress. Right? First one is to build national consciousness. Second one is creating common political platform to organize their political activities and express their grievances. Third is promoting the democratic ideals, that is equality, liberty, uh, then justice, that should be promoted in India too. How in Britain these are there. So here for these goals, Indian National Congress have conducted several meetings in different parts of the India every year. In 1886, after 1 year of Congress formation, Congress turned to one major political party. How did we say this? Because within the 1 year, 436 delegates were elected to the Congress from different local organizations. So this says and indicates the popularity of a Congress party within 1 year. In the first meeting held in 1885, 72 delegates were attended. By next year in 1886, 436 delegates relating to different local organizations joined there. Then after, Indian National Congress have conducted their meetings in the month of December every year in different parts of the country. So very soon we see the members of the Congress party reach to the thousands, and it consisted the delegates like lawyers, journalists, traders, industrialists, teachers, and landlords. These were the main delegates in the Congress party, and there were very few women participants in the Congress. That was Kadambari Ganguly. She was the first women graduate from Calcutta and participant in the Congress. In Congress, we find many of members, that is men, relating to higher social background. What is mean by higher social background? Relating to upper class of the society. And most of the Congress sessions attended by the higher social background men. So during first 20 years, that is 1885 to 1905, many of the Congress members, and very important one, the leaders of the Congress were very peace and calm. They moved with non-violence, without violence. So as they moved with non-violence, the leaders of the Congress we call here moderate leaders. So that period is known as moderate period or moderate phase from 1885 to 1905. Many of the leaders of the Congress given priority to the non-violence, and they followed peaceful strategies in expressing their grievances to the British government. So this period we call as a moderate period by the moderate policies followed by the what to call Congress leaders. The first 20 years we call moderate phase. They were known to moderate methods. So, what are the demands in the first 30 years moderate leaders demanded? Let us see that the demands of the moderate leaders in the first 30 years. Here, the moderate leaders demanded there should be greater voice for Indians in the British government and administration. In the administration and in the government, there should be place for Indian leaders. This is the demand of the moderate leaders. Okay. Along with this, their moderate leaders also demanded that Imperial Legislative Council should be more representative. It should be made more representative with the Indians, and it should be given more power and introduced in provinces where no one Indian is exist. So first is greater voice for Indians in the British government and administration. Second is that more representative and more power should be given for Imperial Legislative Council. And third is that they demanded Indians to be placed in high positions in the government. Indians were given bottom of the place in the British government, that is soldiers. Many of the Indian intellectuals who were fit for higher positions in the British government were refused. So here Indian National Congress moderate leaders, they demanded Indians should be placed in the high category of government. For this purpose, civil service examinations were conducted at London only. Now Congress demanded it should be conducted in India too. Civil service is an examination conducted for recruiting IAS, that is collectors. So many of our Indian English educated Indians were eligible to civil services, but they were not able to write a civil service examination that was conducted at London. And if certain Indians who gone to the London in even writing the examination and got good marks to get civil services, they were not given because Britishers have shown divide and rule and racism. So here moderate leaders demanded that educated Indians should be given a good position in British government. So for that, civil service examinations demanded to be conducted at what to call India too, along with London. Understand? So this is another demand of the Congress and moderate leaders instead. And here, third is that they also demanded Indianization of the administration. Third demand that Indianization of the administration. That means in India, Indian administration under British rule should be with the Indians. If Indian if Indian administration is set up, this Indian administration will end racism. So Indian administration, that is Indianization of administration, is very important movement against racism. Their Britishers followed this racial discrimination in India. What is meant by racism? In giving jobs, opportunities were given for white people, that is English people, and whereas Indian people who are educated and strong enough and skillful to get the job, they were rejected. So partiality was shown in giving the what jobs, that what we call racism. So to end the racism, administration in India should be with the Indians, right? So most of the jobs in India were monopolized by the white Europeans. What is mean by monopolized? It is single seller, single person who controls market. Okay. So in India, market was dominated by the white Europeans. Everywhere in India at that time, traders were white Europeans. Most of the jobs and in a what to call government offices, there were white people. Indians who are highly intellectual and educated. So in many of the jobs, educated Indians were not given jobs, and most of the jobs were allotted for white Europeans. This is racism. So this was condemned by the Indians and moderate leaders. In the Congress, leaders like Dadabhai Nauroji and R.C. Dutt, Justice Ranade, they also studied the impact of British rule and their policies. They clearly studied that how Britishers were draining in the sense exploiting India, that is our wealth, our resources are used for Britishers. Britishers have exploited. They were draining, they were looting our property. They were extracting our wealth, exploiting our wealth. How? By the taxes and leaving Indian people poor and poorer. So here, Dadabhai Nauroji and R.C. Dutt and Ranade, they have given attention to the problems of poverty and famines in India. And they stated that poverty and famines are due to the British policies. They blamed it that famines and poverty is because of British policies. What kind of British policies? They have collected high land revenue and large quantity of grains they exported to the European countries. So this was the situation where British looted Indians. So this was studied by the what to call our Congress moderate leaders. So in the first 20 years, Congress moderate leaders they passed many resolutions. That is what we call it is their declarations, instead resolutions on salt tax. Their Britishers have collected tax on making the salt. So Indian Congress leaders have passed many resolutions on salt tax and treatment of Indian leaders abroad, Indian laborers, Indian Indians worked in industries in other European nations, other European countries as laborers. So there also Britishers ill-treated our Indian laborers. So the moderate leaders of the Congress they passed resolutions on salt tax and treatment of the Indian laborers abroad and sufferings of the tribal people in the forest. Who are forest dwellers? Tribal people, Adivasis, living in the forest. Their life is disturbed by the British administration in the forest. Understand? So they passed the resolution. So our Indian Congress leaders they demanded and convinced that all Indians to start the national industrial development. That means Indian industries have to develop. This will end poverty in India. But what we see, the British rule was standing in a way of development as they were not only draining India of its wealth to England but also enabling selling of British goods at a cheap rate in India and restraining Indian crafts and industries. In the colonial rule of Britishers not only ruled us and exploited us, they also made us to work for them. They did not allow our Indian goods to be exported to Europeans. They took raw material from India, that is raw material, mineral resources of India exported to the England